This week on the deck, a keel gets dropped, threats to life occur. It's like, no, he almost died. I learned something about stainless that I had no idea about. There's an update on Scooby-Doo, the gas to green conversion project, and I tour and sail a brand new Island Packet 439. Sailor Smurf here, coming at you guys from Marine Mission Control. Really cool episode this week. A lot of things were going down, so let's get into it. So Monday morning, I get into the studio and I see this boat up on the boat lift, all hail the boat lift, and it is up in the slings, and there is like a bunch of lines that were running off of the keel in every possible direction with like 100 different trucker hitches and a series of knots and so on. I thought, what is going on here? And so it turns out that they are actually working to remove the through bolted keel on this boat so that it can be taken off. I don't know, thousands and thousands of pounds on this keel. And so you got Brian Ford here masterminding the removal of this keel, and it was really cool to see. I bet Brian Ford had a great time solving the puzzle of how to drop that down so gently with that series of lines like that. In fact, speaking of Brian Ford, he was in the shop doing his thing, welding some stuff up, and I walked in and he informed me something that I didn't know. Stainless steel doesn't come stainless from the factory, not typically. It's like factory prepped or something like that, but it's really like a matte finish to the stainless steel. And it takes a crazy series of using all different kinds of grit, sandpaper, to bring out the polish, that mirror finish on stainless steel. And so it is like everything, you know, man, so many things in life, way more than meets the eye kind of a deal. Next up, these are really neat boats. They're really spendy boats. It's like the price of almost a new Honda Civic, but these OC tenders are pretty bad to the bone, and this was one in the crate. So I'm like, oh, it's like a boat unboxing. you don't get an unboxing every day on a little dinghy like this, so I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, this is sweet. Those wheels kick down, pulling it right out of the crate here. You can get those pads in different colors, which is pretty cool. It doesn't have like pontoons on the side, right? So you get all this storage area up under the bottom of it. And yeah, they're just sweet boats. And this one's totally carbon fiber. It's like 90 pounds, something totally ridiculous. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. I thought that was cool, watching that thing get unboxed for a customer. So I'm in the studio and I'm filming, just going about my day. In fact, I was getting to do an interview with Yacht, and we saw out the studio window whenever we were wrapping on the interview, this boat that's being towed by 2 U.S. towboats, and that's a little bit weird. And so we started to look closer, and it looks like someone had a bad day. Can you believe this thing? I mean, wow, the boat caught on fire. And it doesn't look like the fire came up from the engine bays below. I mean, it looked, I don't know, I can't pretend to know what the heck. Like I'm some kind of fire investigator. I don't know, man. Look at that window got punched out. The whole bridge is just molten. Oh, golly, that sucks. Man, I hope no one got hurt on that. That is wild. Ah, totally crazy. Because this is another just crazy thing that happened this week. So here's the whole story. It's about 8 p.m. or so, and I'm in the studio editing. And so I'm sitting there here in the studio at Marine Mission Control, and I have a large sliding window here at the back that faces the water. And when people run across the deck, it sends some vibrations into the studio that I can feel. So I feel all these vibrations, like dong, 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 dong. And I'm editing, and I'm like, what the heck? And I look out the window and I see Steven's wife, Bree, flying across. I mean, she's in like full sprint. And in my head, I thought, oh, I wonder if something bad is happening. But all I externally said was, huh. And I went back to editing. Well, what had happened at that moment was Yacht at night here was stepping off of his boat. He has his boat here in the yard here at the Yacht Rigger getting some work done. As he's stepping off, he had slipped as he put his foot down on the dock finger and fell backwards into the water. And so, you think, oh my gosh, that sucks. I mean, as long as it didn't hit his head or whatever, falling in the water, that's not life-threatening. It shouldn't be right in a marina. And so I find out later that this is what had happened, that he had fallen in. There was just enough commotion going on. I finally took off my headphones and went outside and heard. And I thought, oh, I wish I got it on camera. And Steven looks at me and says, like stone cold, he's like, no, he almost died. I was like, what? Why would he have almost died? Turns out this guy had probably 90 pounds of tools in his backpack. He had that huge Milwaukee backpack on, and when he slipped and fell into the water, that bag was on his back. 90 pounds of like metal tools and drills and everything you can imagine. In fact, you'll see it here getting sprayed down on the dock. So he falls in, and because the Milwaukee bag has those zippers that are pretty water resistant, it was holding air inside the bag, which gave him some buoyancy, but he was quickly losing it, and he was strapped into it and couldn't quite get it off. And he says it was bubbling because it was losing air, which means it's filling up with water, which means eventually that's going to become an anchor that's going to pull him under, and he might not have come back up. So he pulls out his phone and he calls Steve, and Steve sends him to voicemail with that auto text on Apple that says, sorry, can't talk right now, because he was on the other line. He didn't know it was an emergency. And so then Scotty goes to text him, and it's a bunch of garbled words, and the phone's all wet and he can't quite type right, and he's panicking and he's slowly getting pulled under more as the air is escaping out of the bag. And then finally, he gets a text off to him that made sense, and it says, I'm in the water. And that's when Stephen yelled out in the yard, and everyone came running over. And then, except for me, of course, that's where I got the, huh. And so he was fine. They pull him out. I just see him walking across the studio, like sopping wet head to toe. He hits the showers that we have here in the outer offices, and I walk out, and Steven has a hose, and he's just spraying down these tools because, got to get the salt water off. But that was quite the event. So got a quick update for you guys on the gas to battery conversion of that 90s Sea Ray, and this is the state of the project as it is right now. So what is the update on this repowering of the Sea Ray?
Today we're going to drop this in using a block and tackle. These engine mounts we welded and made up in our shop. The coupler, basically, many couplers have a keyway and set screws. This particular coupler, if I can get it off, it just gets tightened around the shaft, and that's enough to hold it. And this is the interface to the motor. The back will get bolted, 4 bolts bolt to the back plate of the motor. The motor needs to sit on these new engine mounts for about 2 days so that they can settle. There's like rubber in there, and they want a pre-settling, and then you do your final adjustments. The engine has to be no more than 2 degrees off the plane of the shaft. Have a dual controller, so this was developed for us. So this will be able to control the port and starboard engines equally.
Yeah, it's funny how small these engines are.
Yeah, compared to the 2 big 454s that were in here, they are very tiny.
That's so funny. Wow.
I want to go totally green, so they didn't want to have a gen set. So there's nothing that's going to use any oil or fuel any longer once this system is put together.
Yeah.
And then my intention before the end of this week is to run both motors and make sure that they both are controlled properly through this specially designed controller. That's my goal before the end of the week, to have all that done.
Yeah, that is so cool watching this project happen. Update on that whenever the project is in its wrap. That'll be the final segment for that boat. Okay, so we're on to the main segment of this episode, and I was just a little bit excited, so excuse my fanboy nature here as it came out, but it was a lot of fun, really great. I'm going to give you guys a tour of an island packet, so you're going to be able to see the 439 here, and a little action of it sailing, and even a little bit of the song that this band had made about island packet yachts. So pretty sweet. Let's roll it. I'm so excited. This is going to be awesome. Today, I am doing something I am wildly excited about. I'm getting to go sailing on a brand new Island Packet 439, fresh out of the factory, just splashed down. And it's going to be so freaking rad. Can you believe that they invite people like me to come do this? Oh my gosh. This boat is like a craftsman built boat. It's a dream. This boat is a dream. It's so beautiful. I can't wait to give you guys a tour of it here in just a second. But I gotta quit nerding out. You know what? Let me just say this, just real fast. Chilling right here, and these captain chairs that are with the settee right across from me right here, the AC blowing cold, the woodwork in this thing is beautiful. It's so bright in here. I don't know. I'm not like a woodworking kind of guy, so I don't really know. Was this like maple, pine? I don't even know the difference. It is pretty sweet. In my thoughts as I walk through it, but this is it. You come down through the companionway. This is what you walk down to on the 439. I love those captain chairs so much. And that white leather is gorgeous. And then it's got a galley, like I've mentioned before on the HH50 that came through the yard at the Yacht Rigger. I am a huge fan of U-shaped galleys because it gives you something to push against under rough seas. And this is exactly that. And the galley's out of the way. You know, when you get a galley that's on the side like this and there's a berth behind you, it can be a pain because people are always going back and forth while you're trying to cook. I think this is roomy enough it wouldn't be an issue anyways. This is what Island Packet calls garage or the utility room. Actually, I think they call it the utility room. I don't know. I'd probably still call it the garage. Oh, it's so gorgeous. You got an extra freezer inside of here. These fitted countertops. You have, I'm pretty sure there's a hot water heater and some access back there to the stern lazarettes. You have the Northern Lights generator. It's probably a Raycor fuel system here. Maybe a fuel polisher, I don't know. Tell me the difference in the comments. Got your washer dryer. Really great countertops here. The microwave, which is pretty funny. Look at that. Ah, so pretty. Really spacious. See the screw here? See its orientation? Spectra Pure water maker right next to the AC control. I know there's hanging lockers all over this boat. Obviously, this is the fold down table here. And then, boom, look at that. Sweet. So that is called a Pullman berth. So it kind of sticks out catty corner, but it's walk around access to both sides. Even if it doesn't look like it, you get, well, partial access to both sides. Another hanging locker in here. AC panels. Beautiful, exquisite attention to detail everywhere. The owner head. So this walk-in shower, and check this out. A little twisty up here, safety catch. And then this is magnet. They can put any like custom frosted etching that you want into here, but it comes with the Island Packet one. So nice. And these hinges, like everything is so solid, just super premium. This like toilet cutout right here, that shape is so that your back can fit into it while you're seated and you're underway. Totally be a, I don't know, I might call it the Dignity Saver 2.0. cool. So the boat number's there. That's going to be convenient from time to time. That's great. Yeah, super, super comfy for sure. And then you have a little Jack and Jill style access. Bam. Oh, look at that. Even in this area, it's not a wet head. I forgot that. I was thinking it'd be the shower over the toilet, full bathroom, because the toilet is separate from the shower. So the whole thing is not one big wet area where you have to sit on the toilet to use the shower. Excellent. I mean, come on, what's not to like? So pretty. I got to give you guys a little bit of an update, like the background on what I'm doing here on this boat. They don't just take people who make YouTube videos with small channels like mine sailing on like dang near $1 million island packets. They are bringing me on so I can film this really cool band who like made a song about Island Packet, and they're gonna come here and sing it while we go sailing. They're from like England and Canada, I think. Okay, they're gonna be on the boat soon, and we're gonna get underway and go sailing for several hours on this Island Packet 439. I'm like gonna try not to fanboy out all over everybody, and we'll be pushing off here in just a little bit. You know, I have to say, just as a comment here, that Selden synchronized system, where you actually have the winch there, has the motor built up inside the winch, so it doesn't have like a large part of the, there's no motor hanging down under the winch that you have to build it into your, and take into account for it hanging down into the cabin. So that's pretty sweet. The downside of that is there's nowhere to put a winch handle since the motor's occupying that space, but you have backups on a boat and it's designed right, so that's all good. And yeah, the in-mast furler talks to the head sail, it syncs everything up. It's pretty sweet.
Swims up to me and whacks it up alongside my Highland Packet. A wide long tail, she slaps it. A wave she sent was tragic.
It's quite a luxurious thing to be able to hit a button and let all your sails do the things that they need to do, and you can just focus on wind angle and trimming in and squeezing all the speed that you can out of it. Which, speaking of speed, Island Packets are not what they used to be. There's been all kinds of design changes that have now given these boats the best of both worlds. Not just are they built like tanks, but now they no longer sail like tanks. They sail like they're not the porky, slow things that they used to be. And so these things will get up and move now, which is pretty sweet. Well, that is it for this episode of the On Deck channel. I'm Sailor Smurf. Thank you so much for watching. Really appreciate you just being here and taking the time to watch our show. It's still just in its infancy. It's just working to get off the ground. If you have any comments, please give me feedback. Let me know things that you'd like to see, stuff you think that I could be doing better to be able to serve the cruising community that's out there. Also, do check the links in the description below to find all kinds of tools that the yacht rigger likes to use around the yard that they find helpful. They're just affiliate links. We don't have any direct sponsors. This is just the stuff that they love to use. As well as do notice down there, you'll see our podcast, the On Deck channel podcast. And so the On Deck podcast is available everywhere where you get podcasts. And thank you guys once again for your support. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications, and I will see you guys next time on the On Deck channel. Sailor Smurf